Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 5, and this is going to be my review for episode 13 for this season, lucky number 13, obviously entitled Gold-Faced. But of course, spoiler alert, and some, people going to this episode thought it was going to be like a big filler. I thought it was going to be like half filler, but really, almost all of it was relevant, which is pretty good. It's actually pretty surprising, but obviously, yeah, if you don't watch the episode, go watch it and come back to this video later on, because spoilers. But obviously, last episode was the episode in which we went into, Grace's memory, Cicada's niece's memories initially, but then also went to Nora's, we went to, like, the Flash Museum and all that, which was pretty cool. And Nora got to look into, some stuff that's pretty important to unlocking the mystery and the takedown of Cicada. But we actually start off the episode by seeing Sherlock, going deeper and stuff into the symbols and trying to decipher them, find out the handwriting and all that. Nora's basically like spying on him through like the wall, like phasing in and out, which we've never seen before, which is pretty cool. Especially like the shot that they used to go in and out, which is, it's pretty cool. So she goes to 2049 to tell Reverse Flash, or Eobard Thawne, like, yo, this dude is, cracking onto my business, what the hell do I do? And Reverse Flash or Eobard's, simple, answer to this is just try and shift his focus, get him to focus on something else, make him change his plans and, what he's striving to figure out or trying to prevent. So that's Nora's goal for the episode. Now, this was almost a perfect episode for Iris. Almost. I couldn't believe how close she came. This could have possibly been the best Iris episode ever. She almost did it. Almost. The writers, you almost did it. But anyway, we start off by seeing her like struggling with the Central City Citizen. I think it's been up for around a week, I think she said. And it's because she's just writing like puff pieces and just random stuff. Nothing interesting. And obviously, they bring up Spencer Young again, aka Spin, who is doing all this essentially like, could you call it clickbait? Would you call it clickbait? It's like, making stuff up or using stuff without facts and just rumors and stuff. But that gets clicks. That gets clicks nowadays. It's very relevant. So Iris is basically like, well, I want to get into what I was doing last year or last season with DeVoe. People were interested in that, so she wants to do the same with Cicada. With Cicada, it's a bit more dangerous, but, she's an investigative reporter. The investigative part of that comes with a bit of risk. But we do find out with the cure, like they've been working on for a few episodes, that, it can go. It can go. However, it needs to affect the brain or something like that. I can't remember what the term was because I'm not going to write it down. But essentially, to keep it nice and simple, Cicada needs to be still for at least a minute minimum. It could be 2 minutes he has to be still but for at least a minute he needs to be still for the cure to work and like the dark matter to be like funneled away, I guess you could say. But due to this, we need a device, and, a nice company had the device, but then they were sort of, robbed. So the devices, or the devices, are now on the black market, which means we're heading to the black market, which does cause a moral issue, because, like, we're going to pay for it, but then do we pay for it and then stop it, or just stop it in general? So it's a big moral issue, because you're funding the black market and supporting it in regards to this, so... yeah, a bit of a moral issue for mainly Barry in this episode. But we do see Nora once again getting like some what would you call it, like flashbacks, I guess you could say, or just, remembering what Eobard told her, and she just takes advantage of the timeline being malleable and is able to influence things to make Sherlock meet Renee Adler, who is a doppelganger of, I think, several of his ex-wives in the multiverse. And so of course he's going to be infatuated with her straight away. But obviously Sherlock was a bit creepy and put a bit too much information at first, which does definitely scare her off. Now, Barry in the black market, as I think we all expected, which was just a bit... He put his CCPD hat on and was just, he couldn't help himself and just wanted to try and stop certain things. I understand the whole, like, okay, these cop-killing guns and stuff, but, like... the time and place to make a stand and try and prevent them. Like, he was sticking out like a sore thumb in regards to that, so it wasn't the best move by Barry, but it was typical Barry, so can we be that surprised? But we do meet Gold-Faced in this episode, who is obviously like the namesake of the episode, Gold-Faced. Anyway, but he's Aminat Black's ex-boyfriend, so once she like left, and she was obviously running the black market last season, and we sort of brought that up that maybe she might be referenced this episode, and she was, but in a bigger way because she's the ex-boyfriend of the main villain for the episode. So yeah, he's running the black market like she was last season, and the guy that actually played Goldface played Thanos in the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie. There's your little Fun fact, little DC Marvel crossover. So yeah. Now when Barry puts his on like his badass hat for the episode, and he's like, ooh, yeah, I'm edgy, he calls himself the Chemist. Now, the cool thing about that little name is that the Chemist was the Arrow episode back in season 2 that Barry made his, debut. People always have a go at me how I pronounce that. But he debuted in that episode, The Chemist, which was episode 8, I think, of season 2 of Arrow. So there's a little fun fact as to why he called himself, the Chemist. But we do see Iris jump into this investigative reporting. She talks to like one of Cicada's old managers or workmates, one of the two, and he's like, no comment. No comment. No comment. So he just keeps saying no comment before he finally even spills anything. But she does actually break into Cicada's house, which I thought was pretty interesting and a bit risky, but I guess risk comes with it. And she does use Nora's like sketch from the end of last episode just to confirm certain things, to know whether to dive deeper into what's going on here. But obviously Cicada does come home and is like, ooh, who's at my door? So he always knew something was up straight away, but he does use the alias of Cicada's brother, who was Robbie, or Orland's brother, who was Robbie Burns or something like that. So he's pretending to be him, even though Iris knows that that's not the case. Now this was fairly tense, so I was sort of curious as to where this was going to go. Because we know that next episode Iris is meant to be in some trouble, so I thought they might have set that up specifically in this episode. Like it might have ended with Cicada getting hold of Iris and injuring her or something like that. However, they did the thing where I think we were all sort of scared they would do it, where Iris would somehow overpower this meta that Barry and the rest of the team have struggled to face, this whole season. Like there's been 3 against 1, like Killer Frost has been there who isn't affected, who can take him down, or at least, immobilize him and sort of negate his powers, and we still can't take him down, and Iris just stabs him with a kitchen knife. Iris almost had a perfect episode. I really, really enjoyed Iris's writing, because this is what we've wanted with Iris, this investigative journalism storyline, where it actually is relevant to what's going on this season. It isn't some like random crime that she's gone off and like, well, what's this got to do with our story? It's relevant. She's talking to the big bad for this season undercover, and he's sort of trying to be undercover as well and trying to hide certain things. But they just went that extra mile, which was unnecessary. We'll see how it goes next episode. I thought they should, if I was writing this episode, do everything you did. Every single thing. I wouldn't change one little thing you did for this whole episode with Iris. But that end thing, just keep that going. Don't make it sound like it has to be this action scene and stuff like that. Just keep it going. Leave that till next episode. Like, let that be the cliffhanger. That would have been a good cliffhanger. Cicada, not necessarily like having Iris by the throat, but just like in a tense situation where they're both in a room and we don't know where it's going to go. That's how it should have ended. But it didn't. Anyway. But as I said before, like Nora has sort of set up to have Sherlock meet the doppelganger of some of Sherlock's exes. But in the process, she sort of exposes Sherlock as to what Earth he's on, and the multiverse of exes come along because he owes some money. So that scene was like basically like a play on like the Council of Wells, except it was the Council of Exes, if you want to call it. Not the XS, but the Council of Ex-Wives to Sherlock. Some people might not have liked it. I just thought it was okay, just like one of those comedic scenes, but it's meant to sort of hammer home some like, Sherlock feeling down, which carries on to later in the episode. Now, the Goldface mission in this episode was, I thought it was going to be fairly average, and it sort of started off average. Like Ralph looks Barry in the car, in the van they were in, just to like, keep him out of his business. Then when he gets there, he has sort of like a moral change, because this device would have been to help kids at the hospital and stuff like that. And so, Ralph gets in some trouble as well, but Barry's able to break himself out of the van, which is not surprising in the slightest. I mean, it's Barry, he's pretty smart. I mean, remember prison last season when he made that like thing to break out of his cell, which was pretty smart. We don't see it too often, but Barry's a pretty smart dude. But my favourite scene in the episode, easily, and if it's not your favourite scene, then what is wrong with you? The Barry and Ralph shootout scene with that music. That was hilarious. It was awesome, funny, and just good. It was just a good scene. Like, embrace almost the silliness of a scene. It was silly. It was basically laser tag because they were on stun. So it's just like, laser tag, but if you get hit, you go to sleep for a bit. It's just one of those things. Good scene. And the music and stuff worked well. And also was it like a Red Dead Redemption reference, I think, from Ralph? Great scene. Best scene of the episode. And I was sort of surprised because I just wasn't expecting it. Like, I was expecting a shootout, but nothing like that to set out that way and everything like that. I thought it was awesome. Now, one of the biggest moments was when Barry almost makes Goldface kill himself, and he moves out of the way and Goldface gets shocked. And he started to melt. He had gold under his skin and stuff like that, almost like his skeleton was made of gold or something. And he just starts to melt from the eyes. I'm like, so he's not dead. Because Barry checks his pulse. He's like, oh, he's still alive. I'm like, how is he alive? I'm sorry, his gold was melting out of his eyes and stuff like that. How's it meant to get back in? Does it just absorb back in or something like that? Thought that's a bit strange, but fair enough. I prefer if they don't make Barry a killer, or at least an assistant in someone being killed. I prefer they try and stick away from that. So I'm all for Goldface being alive. Just in that situation, I was like, I don't know how the hell he survived, but okay. In the comics, he is invulnerable, which is why he could do all that stuff before. Just thought it was a bit, okay, I just don't know how he survived in that situation, but whatever. But we get a nice little bookend in this episode where it starts with Nora bringing up the problem and Eobard giving a solution, and Nora trying to basically, bring in that solution and make it work. We see it finally play out where Sherlock actually finds out that Renee is a meta, which obviously is like, well, crap, Cicada's trying to hunt the metas, so that's basically his goal now, is to protect Renee, the doppelganger of all of his ex-wives, try and protect her from Cicada. So now his focus has shifted from trying to expose Nora or trying to figure out all this, the writing and stuff like that, and it's shifted to Renee. Now, this will trigger a lot of people, I know it will, because a lot of people just want Nora to be exposed. I have a feeling this won't last too long. I think this might just last a handful of episodes, or you never know, maybe Nora's exposed in another way. I didn't think, it's only episode 13, and they might be wanting to wait for Nora to be exposed until maybe episode 16 or 17, if not maybe 18, something like that. So then they're going to have some drama leading up to the finale. But I can see some people getting annoyed by this, which I can sort of understand. But regardless, Nora did succeed this episode in regards to what she was trying to do. But overall, I thought this was actually a pretty solid episode. I actually really enjoyed this episode, just because I went into it thinking, okay, there's going to be some story elements, but I think half will be filler, half will be story. But basically the whole episode was relevant. None of it was filler. Some people might say the Nora Sherlock stuff is filler, but not really, because it's attached to Sherlock and the symbols and Thorn and stuff in the future. So that's relevant. The Iris stuff was very relevant. As I said, almost had a perfect episode. Apart from the ending, they should have changed it up a bit and not made it as cliche Iris from previous seasons. They should have tried to change it up. They didn't, but it's already happened. What can we do? And the Ralph and Barry stuff was relevant. Oh, that's actually, if you're going to really argue, you could maybe argue that Barry and Ralph stuff wasn't that relevant because they didn't succeed in their mission, but what they were going for was relevant, if I'm making sense there. So overall, I thought the episode was actually above average from what I thought it was going to be. So I'm pleasantly surprised. And yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on the episode. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you dislike it? Did you hate it? Let me know all of your opinions down there in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.